Welcome to Joy of Books with me, Miss Joy. Today's novel is Mr. Majestyk by Elmore Leonard. Released in 1974 and totaling at 216 pages, it is a classic crime novel. Sharing his views in the book today is author and teacher TC. As you know, I really love thrillers, so I am particularly interested in hearing your views on this book. What can you tell us about Mr. Majestyk?
Well, Miss Joy, I can tell you that it is a good read. Above all else, it's quite a dark and edgy thriller in places. It's about this Arizona melon farmer, a character called Vince Majestyk, and essentially he's a nice guy, kind of everyman. For example, in the opening scene, he's in a convenience store and he stands up for a small group of migrant workers who are seeking to use the toilet in that particular store. So it sets out very early on the idea that he is a quiet man, but he's a tough man and he won't back down where he feels he's in the right. He is threatened and backed into a corner by a local mobster, a low-level guy called Bobby Copas. He sends this Bobby Copas character packing in no uncertain terms, and unfortunately this turns into a series of events which lead to him crossing the local mob entirely, including a hitman called Frank Render, whom he finds himself in a prison bus on the way to the penitentiary with. Very, very interestingly told story. Of course, Elmore Leonard is renowned for his incredible use of dialogue. It's hard really to find somebody who uses more snappier dialogue. It is believed that he writes the best dialogue, particularly in the USA, and this contributes to the gritty tone and feel of his writing as a whole. In terms of the plot, very easy to follow, no issues with that. It's set in the 70s, and in fact the main character, Majestyk, is this kind of Vietnam veteran who used to train the Rangers in the army, train them in armed combat. So you can see where the toughness comes from and that quiet confidence in his ability to take on anybody who tries to cross him. So essentially he comes out fighting in this particular story, and he collides with everybody from the local police to the underworld of the region of Arizona, and of course the mob as a whole. So it's very, very, very interesting to read. There's a romance aspect as well, and Nancy Chavez, and that's nicely handled because it's not cliched. It's the idea that she's beautiful but quite tough. She helps out on his melon farm when he's left short-handed, for example, and it's fairly convincing, I would say. In addition, the Bobby Copas character is convincing. I think we all know these people who think they're tough, but they're not really. They're bullies, and when you stand up to them, they show their true colours. The mafia hitman Frank Render is very believable. This very tough but focused killer who kind of comes after our protagonist. Yeah, very believable indeed. I just like the twist in this story, the idea of the hunters becoming the hunted. I like the way that the main character turns the tables on them. And there's some nice aspects to this. There's a car chase that's described in detail. There's, assassination attempts that kind of go wrong. There's all sorts in here for the reader. And I particularly like the section towards the end where the main characters in the kind of forests of the southwestern USA, but they kind of parallel that with the idea of the Lao jungle from Vietnam. So that's quite a clever technique. Now, the most interesting thing about this is that the novel is actually a novelization, okay, which means that Elmore Leonard wrote a screenplay for a film called Mr. Majestyk, which was made into a film very successfully. I think it was Charles Bronson appeared as the Majestyk character. And it was only after the film was released that he actually wrote the novel form of this. So be aware of that. I can see how the kind of structure of the story and the writing is slightly different to Elmore Leonard's other piece of writing. There's a little bit less dialogue, for example, in this, but a lot more of the description of the action sequences. So if that's something that maybe wouldn't interest you, then that might be a reason to maybe seek out some of Elmore Leonard's other writing, of which there are many. I think he's written over 40 books, so you won't be short on choice. But yeah, Miss Joy, I highly recommend this book. Really good read. Not the longest of reads, but there's certainly something in it for any reader.
Well, thank you very much for your review of the book, TC. Yes, it is clear that you love the book and it seems perfect for lovers of crime thrillers. Mr. Majestyk by Elmore Leonard is available from all good book outlets. Thank you for joining me and please remember to like and subscribe to my channel, Joy of Books.